breaks his jaw in 2 places.
Yeah. And
He's fucked. His jaw's wired shut now. He lost teeth.
See, I mean, he made it to the 6th round.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Do they put your teeth back in when they pop out like that, or are they gone forever?
I don't know. But it's just wired shut for like 6 weeks now.
So here's what went down. You've got to survive on nothing but liquid protein shakes. The eerie quiet that consumed Miami's Kaseya Center that December night wasn't about showing respect, it was pure disbelief. We've all watched Jake Paul embrace his role as the antagonist, the chaos agent and troublemaker who swore he could topple combat sport legends. When everything settled in that Miami arena though, the cockiness had vanished. No more mouth running, no dramatic post-fight antics, and certainly no victory lap. Just a broken 28-year-old sprawled across the mat, his jawbone shattered in multiple spots, finally understanding that this game he'd been treating like entertainment had turned deadly serious.
Anthony Joshua hits you with probably his hardest shot. You dropped and said, wow.
I was like, wow, that was nice.
Did he surprise you with his power?
No, but I mean, he surprised my jaw.
Talk to me about what your jaw feels like.
It's like a baseball in there. 4 titanium plates. How many do you have?
Just 1.
This isn't your typical boxing defeat we're breaking down. We're not looking at some close scorecards or questionable referee decisions. This was Anthony Joshua methodically destroying someone, a genuine heavyweight king who finally made Jake Paul pay what he'd been owing for years. The scariest element of this whole situation isn't even the brutal knockout. It's everything that happened afterward. Right now, Jake's mouth is completely wired shut and he's getting all his nutrition through a straw. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan has jumped in with a message that makes those physical injuries seem like nothing. Rogan isn't pushing Jake to walk away because his boxing skills are lacking. He's practically begging him to quit because he thinks Jake has crossed a line he can never uncross.
I mean, look, it's a crazy world. The thing is that I would hope that he recognizes is right now he's doing great, and he's only, whatever he is, 28, I think.
Is he 28?
I think he is. How old is Jake Paul? He's young.
God damn.
And he's probably made 300 million plus in his boxing career. How old is Jake Paul?
He'll be 29 in
Look at that. So he's 28 years old, 29 next month. Don't do this very long, because there's a price that you pay that is not worth it.
Rogan believes the damage counter has maxed out, the bill has come due, and if Jake climbs back through those ropes, he's not just gambling with another defeat, he's gambling with his mental health, his future existence, and potentially his life. What exactly did Rogan witness that shook him to his core? Why is Jake Paul now confessing that he's genuinely terrified of dying for the first time ever? Let's break down what happened after Judgment Day arrived. Understanding why these warnings sound so apocalyptic requires examining what actually went down between those ropes. This event was marketed as Judgment Day, and shockingly, the hype lived up to reality. Across 5 brutal rounds, it resembled less of a boxing competition and more like watching a horror film unfold. Everyone believed Jake had evolved, that his knockout power was real, and maybe his youth advantage would matter. Those fantasies crumbled the second Anthony Joshua unleashed his first serious jab.
Or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either gonna give up or you're gonna get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw tonight, Jake has spirit. He has some heart. he tried his best, and I take my hat off to him because, number one, a lot of fighters haven't got in the ring with me, and Jake did. And secondly, even when he got knocked down, he kept on trying to get up, and I take my hat off to him. So America, I think you have someone who could potentially, if he still has the heart for it, come back again, dust the dirt off his shoulder, and come again and maybe sell out this center sometime in 2026. Maybe against a Gervonta Davis, a Ryan Garcia, who knows?
Witnesses at ringside describe a level of embarrassment that television couldn't completely show. Broadcasters mentioned that by round 3, all that swagger had totally disappeared. Jake wasn't even attempting to box anymore, he was literally running away. Multiple moments showed what looked like him begging to survive, completely overwhelmed by the raw size and devastating power of someone who's faced the most dangerous heavyweights alive. Boxing purists had been waiting for this reality check, but nobody expected it to look this brutal. The finish in round 6 was absolutely definitive. Joshua didn't just connect with a punch, he delivered a life-changing blow. The kind of right hand that instantly separates your soul from your body. Watching Jake Paul, someone who built his empire on never shutting up, collapse into nothing was a harsh lesson about the different levels in this sport. This wasn't just losing a fight, this was getting completely exposed as an outsider trying to survive in a world of killers, and the natives finally decided to send him packing.
And he was moving as such. He was staying away from him. He was running away. He was trying to get distance. Then he was trying to step in to win this athletic competition, and then he's trying to get out of the way so that he doesn't get hurt again. I mean, he was fighting. Then it turns to where he can't stay away anymore. So now he's got to go the other way. He's got to go forward. So now he's clinched him. Now he's dropping down to his knees. He's going below the waist. He's getting to double leg positions. He was fighting. These guys were Jake was fighting for his survival, and you could so see it. You could see this animal who's been caged and is just trying to make it through, not even kill its prey, just make it through. And it was incredible. It was really incredible. So on the back end, some of the comments that I made or that I had heard were so confusing to me. It was a very good competition. I will tell you, it breaks my heart too that Anthony Joshua can't get him out of there in one round. Dave Portnoy had made a comment before the fight. He said, I like Jake. I wish well for Jake. Of course I'm taking Joshua. And then Portnoy made his point. And he said, because I believe in boxing. This isn't if I'm cheering for Jake or if I think that Joshua is more experienced or better. I believe in I believe boxing's real. If boxing is an actual sport, if it is an actual sweet science, then of course a guy that's done it 11 times cannot compete with the Olympic champion. Of course. This is before you get size in there, before you get professional world titles in there. A guy that's done this 11 times cannot go into the Olympic Games and medal. If boxing, in fact, should be believed. I was with Portnoy. I liked it. I liked how he said that. So, that's how I feel too.
What followed that knockout wasn't hurt feelings. This became a genuine medical crisis. Jake didn't stroll out for any press conferences. Paramedics rushed him straight to emergency care. The medical report was devastating. His jaw had completely fractured in 2 separate locations. If you've never witnessed this type of injury, it's not something you just put ice on and forget about. We're talking about the jawbone completely snapping in 2 different spots, demanding emergency surgical intervention to insert titanium hardware just to keep the bone structure intact. Over the following days, his new reality became crystal clear. Jake is currently missing several teeth and faces weeks or possibly months of consuming only liquids. Think about the mental impact of that situation. You're among the most recognizable faces on Earth, sitting on a fortune worth millions, but you can't speak without slurring, you can't enjoy a real meal, and every mirror reflection shows you the metal-reinforced consequences of your own ambitions. This injury represents a permanent reminder of the gap between social media boxing and legitimate heavyweight competition. Fighting retired mixed martial artists or fellow content creators usually only risks embarrassment. Fighting Anthony Joshua risks permanent structural damage. This goes way beyond just pain tolerance. It's about human skulls not being engineered to absorb kinetic force from a 250-pound professional destroyer. As severe as the physical trauma appears, the psychological damage could be exponentially worse.
Boy looked like a runaway slave, didn't he? That boy looked like a fish out of water. That boy looked like you know, like a lion was chasing his ass, right? You know what I'm saying? Like chasing a gazelle. I thought I was watching National Geographic. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, damn, this is just crazy. You know, from that aspect, that was the only thing I was in there. I was just like, damn. You know, if he lands one of them right hands, he might kill him. He might kill him. You know, and when he landed that right hand, man, that broke that damn jaw, man. Wow. You know, and Jake Paul didn't go to sleep. That's one tough white boy, man. I'm not gonna lie. That's one tough white boy right there, for real. But anyways, man, that's my thoughts, man. You know, this is what boxing has become. You know, this is what people want to see, I guess.
This brings Joe Rogan into our story, and his perspective transformed this loss into something much darker and more cautionary. During his podcast appearance, Rogan didn't mock Jake or celebrate the defeat. He became deadly serious instead. He explained something called the punch card theory. Rogan's philosophy suggests every fighter enters this world with an invisible punch card. A finite number of times your brain can get scrambled before it stops recovering properly. Rogan analyzed that knockout blow from Joshua and calculated it wasn't just one impact. From a trauma perspective, it equaled absorbing 10 regular punches simultaneously. He believes Jake has probably exhausted his card completely. The worry here isn't about Jake developing slurred speech decades from now. Rogan is discussing immediate, catastrophic psychological deterioration. He directly connected this level of severe brain trauma to crushing depression and dramatic personality changes.
You know, say if you have like a punch card, you have like so many punches that you can get in your life, which I believe you do. I believe there's a certain number. That one was like 10 punches.
Yeah.
That was like,
Yeah.
It was a lot of concussions in that one punch.
Sure.
That was real damage. Like if someone's breaking your jaw in two places, the inside of your fucking head there's a lot of damage going on in there too.
Rogan cautioned Jake that staying on this path leads somewhere dark where self-control completely disappears. We've witnessed this with legendary fighters who destroyed themselves through gambling problems, drug dependencies, and unpredictable behavior after hanging up the gloves. Rogan's warning was bone-chillingly direct. Some prices are never worth paying. He's telling Jake that no pay-per-view fortune can restore your brain chemistry after it gets scrambled. The depression Rogan describes stems from chemical imbalances caused by your brain slamming into your skull repeatedly, and it haunts fighters long after the crowds go silent.
He's probably made 300 million plus in his boxing career. How old is Jake Paul?
29 and
Look at that. So he's 28 years old, 29 next month. Don't do this very long, because there's a price that you pay that is not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. And that price is depression, deep depression, a severe brain imbalance that's going to lead you to addiction. It leads so many people to impulsive behavior. So many people become gambling addicts, drug addicts, alcoholics after their fighting career.
Yeah.
It's you could only take so much. And at a certain, like that one that he got from Joshua, ooh.
Rogan's message appears to be penetrating because the Jake Paul we witnessed on that post-fight podcast was completely unrecognizable. The arrogant entertainer had vanished. Replacing him was a clearly traumatized young man wrestling with thoughts of his own death. During a rare moment of complete honesty, Jake confessed the experience absolutely terrified him. He was quoted saying he doesn't want to die, words that couldn't be more different from his typical ready-to-kill mentality. He discussed feeling exhausted, not just physically drained, but tired of the brutality, tired of absorbing punishment, tired of risking everything for public entertainment. It offered a rare look behind his problem child character. Turns out when you remove all the marketing and cameras, there's a real person underneath who's genuinely scared.
Just think I my cardio, just the mental pressure of the big guy and sparring the big people is different than the 10-ounce gloves. So I was feeling his power a lot more. But it was a great experience. Like, I learned a lot in there. I can't really fucking talk.
Are you in pain?
Yeah, but
Does
it's
it
not
hurt
gonna, it's not from like talking.
Talk to me about what your jaw feels like, because you got
It's like a baseball in there.
two
And then
plates,
It just feels like
4 titanium plates.
4 titanium plates. How many do you have?
Just one.
8 screws. 8 screws.
Wait, all right, I got plate in my head, titanium rod in my hand. I think that's it. You got me beat.
I hope to God we're not starting an injury contest, because you know the only thing I'll ever win will be metal in body. I have plates and screws throughout my. I have a rod the size of his leg in my
From
femur.
the car crash?
From crashes, ski
He
accidents,
snapped his ankle.
everything.
That's
you can
Mike
imagine.
wins.
Can I ask
Finally something.
if we're gonna maybe try to do this? I do want to know one thing, because I think one thing that is undeniable is your chin. I mean, anyone who questioned whether or not you had a chin, I think the answer to that question was proven last night. Bro, you can take a shot. Anthony Joshua hits you with probably his hardest shot that we've seen drop every other single fighter that he's fought.
Yeah.
And he hit you in the face, and not only did you not get knocked out, you dropped and said, wow.
I was like, wow, that was nice. I was on the ground. I was like, that was a good shot.
Dude.
Did he surprise you with his power? Like-
No, to be honest, no. But, I mean, he surprised my jaw.
There's that one photo, your jaw looks like
It's
kind of
literally
off your
snapped,
face.
bro. It's literally snapped.
Dude, when
Completely snapped.
after the fight, you were like, I think like one of my teeth is, and you open your mouth, and I was the first to see it. I went, oh, you broke.
This confession carries serious weight because in fighting, fear signals it's time to leave. When you enter the ring focused on staying alive instead of securing victory, you're already headed for disaster. Jake appears to understand he pushed his luck too far. He's not discussing rematch clauses or calling out future opponents. He's talking about basic survival. He's acknowledging he has a fiancé and family to consider, and that the darkness Joe Rogan described is starting to creep closer to reality. The boxing community has completely split over this beatdown. One faction includes critics like Eddie Hearn, who have been predicting this outcome for years. For them, this was their vindication moment. Hearn and others argued that permitting an influencer, regardless of dedication, to face a heavyweight legend was irresponsible. They view this fight not as legitimate sport, but as a legal execution that should never have been approved. They see Jake's shattered jaw as evidence that some levels in this sport cannot be skipped regardless of work ethic or financial resources. The opposing side features legends like Anderson Silva defending Jake's choices. Silva commended Jake's bravery, pointing out that most professional boxers would refuse to face Anthony Joshua, especially someone who started their career on Disney Channel. There's genuine respect for the boldness of attempting something so dangerous, but even positive comments carry heavy concern. Courage deserves admiration, but courage doesn't prevent brain hemorrhages.
You know, I think Jake improved a lot. The people need to respect him. I don't say that only because I'm fight here in a company, but it's because Jake, the people need to respect Jake, you know. I mean, every single fight go inside the ring, everybody need respect.
Everyone agrees across the spectrum, from critics to supporters, that this experiment has concluded. Jake Paul demonstrated he possesses a fighter's heart, but he also proved his body has limitations. The entire industry is basically offering him an exit ramp, suggesting he's proven everything possible and risks losing everything by continuing. So what comes next for Jake Paul? His immediate strategy involves completely abandoning violence. Reports suggest he's taking an extended break to support his fiancée, Jutta Leerdam, as she trains for the 2026 Winter Olympics. It's a dramatic lifestyle shift, from the blood and intensity of boxing training to quietly cheering from skating rink bleachers. This hiatus aligns perfectly with medical advice and Joe Rogan's recommendations, but the big question persists. Is this actual retirement or just a temporary pause? Jake has suggested he might be finished, that his competitive fire got extinguished by the harsh reality of that knockout. But we've seen this pattern before. Fighters become addicted to the adrenaline rush. Normal life's quietness can feel unbearable for someone accustomed to stadium crowds roaring. Will the trauma from his broken jaw and death fears keep him away permanently, or will physical healing allow his ego to gradually return? Joe Rogan fears the second option. He understands that when pain subsides, fear memories fade too, and the competitive urge resurfaces. But if Jake decides to scratch that itch again, he might discover his punch card gets permanently declined in the most devastating way imaginable.
I was impressed with Jake Paul. I thought that, following on from what we're saying, right? A few years ago, he was on Disney as a kid, acting up, and has decided to become a professional fighter. That takes balls, but he's obviously striving to be as good as he can be. You can see that in the way that he moves, the way that he is developed in how he's punching and performing. But to make a two-time world heavyweight champion that's still live, you know, AJ's still got something about him, to make him miss in such an accomplished manner. All right, so at times he was jumping out and running around, but there were times when he was well in range and still making AJ unable to land a clean, solid shot. He deserves a lot of respect for that. And then the shot that actually finished the fight, that broke his jaw quite badly, didn't put him out. That shot's put that shot he threw with serious intention has put a lot of professional heavyweights to sleep. He didn't go to sleep. He actually finished on his knees, didn't he? Laughing and spitting blood out of his mouth. So, like they say, like it's a special type of crazy and a special type of brave to do it. But I actually hats off to him, because he showed that he's developing some accomplished little skills in there to look after himself. The size difference is always going to fatigue him.
Ultimately, this fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua will be remembered less for the actual boxing and more for the brutal wake-up call it delivered. We watched someone who believed he could outsmart the system get violently corrected by reality. Joe Rogan's warning looms over everything like storm clouds gathering. This lifestyle demands payment, and Jake has made a substantial down payment. Titanium facial plates and a wired jaw represent expensive consequences, but they're fixable. The depression, brain damage, and potential addictions Rogan warned about, those costs last forever. Jake Paul commands unlimited financial resources, but he's learning you cannot purchase a replacement brain. He approached the edge of destruction, stared into the void, and stepped back at the last possible moment. The only remaining question is whether he's intelligent enough to walk away from that edge permanently, or if the problem child will make the fatal error of looking back one more time.
What happens? Is this the end of influencer boxing? Does Jake continue? You know, he's got looks like a seemingly bad injury. Both sides of his jaw broken. Even if he intends to box, it's going to take a while. I had heard that Jake Paul and Andrew Tate was going to be rumored to be made eventually or soon. Well, that sort of throws that out the window. Tate got beat the next day. Not that you couldn't make Tate and Jake Paul if they both lost, because you could kind of look at it as a dust-off fight for both of them and make the fight against one another. But because of Jake's injury, you have this issue now where he's got to recover. And honestly, coming from broken two sides of broken jaw, is even worse, because to test it out, you're not just chewing food or talking. Your jaw has to heal enough to take impact, to spar, to be able to actually box, and not just everyday life's usage of your jaw. Like I said, to just chew and talk. So I don't know. That's why I was thinking, like, is this going to be the end of Jake, or because even if he comes back as a boxer, it'll probably could take a year, to be honest. Does he focus on his promotion?
What do you think, though? Should the problem child step back into the boxing ring for another massive fight next year? If you think he should, who would make the most interesting opponent? Drop your thoughts below. That wraps up today's breakdown. If this content hit the mark, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you catch every single upload. Make sure to drop your opinions in the comments section. Stay locked in, and we'll see you in the next one.